What? Hollywood Rip Ride Rockit's gonna get demolished? Oh no. This is just terrible news. Oh, boo-hoo, boo-hoo-hoo-hoo. How will I go on without Hollywood Rip Ride Rockit? Oh wait, you're telling me there's a possibility of a Intamin multi-launch coaster that will replace it? Well, in that case... Yeah, it's no secret that I didn't like Hollywood Rip Ride Rockit, and it's for all the unoriginal reasons. It's rough, there are too many brake runs, and the onboard audio, let's be honest, it was never that good. It always felt quiet to me, and the select your song feature, it was just kind of a gimmick. Rides like Guardians or Rock and Roller Coaster, their onboard audio was leagues above Hollywood Rip Ride Rockit. So when I heard that Universal filed demolition permits for this ride, all I was thinking was, dang, this is a late Christmas present. And King's Dominion is removing Anaconda? Well, this just keeps getting better and better. But when the announcement came out, did I feel anything other than joy? Did I feel any sense of shock? Well, not exactly. This coaster has been on the chopping block for quite some time now. Everyone knew Hollywood Rip Ride Rockit would be removed sometime in the future. We just didn't know when. My original prediction was this ride was going to be demolished in 2 to 3 years, maybe 4. I didn't think Universal would remove this ride with such urgency. I thought that after Epic Universe debuted, Universal would hold off maybe 1 or 2 years before they started working on their next project. But thank God that is not true, because Universal, they are hungry. They want to keep building and evolving their parks and beefing up their lineup. Who cares if they're already opening the most expensive park ever? To them, that's just the first course. They gotta keep moving forward, baby. And I'm all for it. And if that means Hollywood Rip Ride Rockit has to go away, then fine. Sayonara. You won't be missed, at least by me. So, now it's time for the fun part. Let's speculate. What is going to be replacing Hollywood Rip Ride Rockit in the coming years? Now remember, we are just in the beginning phases of its removal. We just know the Universal, they are planning to demolish the ride, and that is presented to us through a recent permit. A permit from the South Florida Water Management District. And we know they're planning to remove the ride because in the description, all they have written down was, remove existing attraction and replace with proposed attraction. That statement, it may be short, but hey, it's cut and dry and tells us exactly what we need to know. Except, you know, the crucial detail of when this ride is actually closing. Universal, they didn't give any confirmation of when Hollywood Rip Ride Rockit will shut down. Currently, the proposed rumor is March, maybe? So that gives you a 2-month window to ride Hollywood Rip Ride Rockit before they completely level it. But once this ride is completely gone, what's gonna replace it? Well, I think we all know what should replace this ride. An Intamin. A nice, fast, tall, multi-launch Intamin coaster. It only makes sense. Hollywood Rip Ride Rockit was the big thrill coaster at Universal Studios, and now that they're taking it out, they gotta fulfill that void. And Universal, they have a long, healthy track record with Intamin, so, you know, do I really have to connect the dots? Hell, their 2 biggest and most popular roller coasters are from this company. You know which rides I'm talking about. Velocicoaster and Hagrid's. They are the best 1-2 punch at Islands of Adventure. So if Intamin is already the kingpin at Universal, why bother breaking tradition? Just build another Intamin. Come on, I want more Intamin. Now currently, there are 2 proposed rumors for a new Intamin coaster, and unfortunately, I'm gonna have to shoot those down immediately, because they don't really make any sense, and one of them I can easily debunk. The first one is the Hollywood Drift clone. As most of you probably already know, Intamin, they're already building a roller coaster at Universal Hollywood, this one being a Fast and Furious roller coaster with spinning cars with a controlled rotation. Think about something like Guardians, just, you know, more extreme. Now, the reason why I'm rejecting this proposal is because they already have Fast and Furious, and until they get rid of that stupid simulator, I don't see another Fast and Furious ride coming anytime soon. It just doesn't make any sense. Now, of course, Fast and Furious isn't the end-all be-all. They don't have to theme this kind of coaster to that IP. They could, in theory, take the exact same ride system and just overlay it with a different franchise. The only reason I don't think they would do this is because Universal, they at least try to keep their roller coasters unique and special to the park they're building it in. Now, of course, there are some exceptions to this practice. The Hulk did get cloned over at Universal Beijing, but for the most part, originality is the rule of thumb. There is a reason why we will never see a Hagrid or Velocicoaster clone. Universal wants diversity in their parks. And also, you can't really clone the Fast and Furious ride and just plop it down over here. Hollywood Rip Ride Rockit took up a very narrow chunk of land, so it's gotta be a custom layout. Could it have the spinning trains? Possibly. I would like to see that. The ride would just have to be a custom fit. Now, the other proposed concept for an Intamin coaster is a vertical launch model, and I'm sorry, I can't buy this. This theory has absolutely no evidence. The only reason why people are humoring this concept is because a photo leaked of blue Intamin track, and once that happened, everyone immediately started thinking, what? Does this belong to the vertical launch model? Where could it be going? Wait! They just announced Hollywood Rip Ride Rockit closing. Could this be the replacement? Could this be Universal's new coaster? No. Correlation and causation, guys. Just because a new event is happening right now doesn't mean there's any connection. In fact, I found out what this coaster is in 2 seconds. When you go on RCDB and type in vertical launch coaster, there are only 2 models in existence. Storm Coaster that is already in Dubai, and an unknown model going to, Dream Island in Russia. And that coaster is under construction and is opening in 2025. And don't try to tell me this is not the same ride, because the concept art is orange, but the photo is blue. What do you think is more likely? That this is the track for a coaster that's supposed to open next year, or that this is the track for a roller coaster that hasn't even been announced and is supposed to replace a ride that isn't even demolished yet? You know, I think that this is more likely the case. Could a vertical launch coaster still go to Universal? Hey, anything is possible, but thinking that this is the coaster coming to this park just doesn't make sense. Intamin is a big company. They have many projects going on all across the world, so thinking that this is the exact ride going to Universal Studios is just factually wrong. I'm sorry. But rest assured, this replacement is going to be a roller coaster. Universal, in their filings, they revealed they are constructing 3 new buildings. One is just a small electrical shed, most likely, but the other 2 looks like a station and a maintenance bay. They can't be anything else. The buildings aren't large enough for an indoor dark ride. You can see here that the station only takes up about a dozen parking spaces. So it's for sure going to be for a roller coaster. The issue is, what IP? What will Universal theme this ride to? The popular contender has been Ghostbusters. And hey, I have no problem with that. The entrance for the ride would be in the New York section, so Ghostbusters would feel right at home, especially since the old Ghostbusters attraction used to be here. So they wouldn't have to change that much of the area. All they would need to do is put an entrance right next to Jimmy Fallon, and boom, you would have an entirely new New York section. Honestly, I wish they would get rid of the New York area, just because that would mean they would also get rid of Jimmy Fallon. I don't like that thing. Why did they build this simulator? Please, Universal, you're already getting rid of Hollywood Rip Ride Rockit. Why don't you get rid of Jimmy Fallon too? It's right there. It's terrible. If you're already doing some spring cleaning, it's best to get rid of all the garbage. But besides Ghostbusters, my main go-to IP for a new roller coaster has to be Back to the Future. It just seems like a really cool concept with a lot of potential. The train design, you obviously theme it to a DeLorean, one of the most iconic cars in film history. I like the Ecto-1 as much as the next guy, but the DeLorean. Maybe for the launch, you make its own dedicated plaza in the queue, and when it takes off, you have some fire or light effect trailing behind the DeLorean as it reaches a top speed of course, 88 miles per hour. Back to the Future would just work as a roller coaster exceptionally well, because this is a franchise that is timeless. Everyone knows the Back to the Future movies, and most people enjoy them. It doesn't matter if these films are old or not, because multiple generations can grow up with these movies. Same with Ghostbusters, but you know, Universal hasn't been too fair to that franchise. Back to the Future, it has 3 movies, and they're all good. So I think if Universal can just bulldoze the entire New York area, because let's be frank, it was never that pleasing to look at. Most of it was just facades. So if they retheme it to, I don't know, LA or Back to the Future's version of 2015, then this area can finally be something special, and it will no longer be a dead zone at Universal. So please, Universal, build Back to the Future as your new headlining roller coaster. If you do end up going with Ghostbusters, I won't complain, but I think Ghostbusters would lend itself better as a new dark ride as opposed to a roller coaster. That's just what I think. But either way Universal goes, it should be fine. But besides those 2 franchises, I don't know any other option. Unless Universal, they wanted to poach a different IP from some other company. They have been known to do that before. But to close off, all I have to say now is goodbye, Hollywood Rip Ride Rockit. I know you had your fans, but I was not one of them. But still, in my heart, you will always be that one roller coaster that constantly broke down when I was in line. Your operation sucked. Enjoy the scrapyard.